Hey guys, it is Erika Misha. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And today's video, I wanted to talk with you about several things. The first thing is, as you can see by the title of this video, my CT scans, which is pretty much my doctor has me do CT scans. I think it's like every other month she's been having me do them. CT scans where they stick you in that big donut and they just scan your body, to make sure, everything is where it should be or there's no issues. And I've had several CT scans. Never really talked about them on my channel, because I was having them on a regular basis. So I never really talked about them, but I'd like to use this opportunity now to talk about them. As far as my scans have all come back, thank God. All my scans have come back pretty decent. Haven't had any issues with my scans. They've all come back good. I do know in the beginning, my first scan, of course, my first scan showed, showed the cancer cells, in my body, in my right breast. Of course, they showed that. I know with each of my CAT scans, my doctor, my oncologist has been telling me how the cells are shrinking. And I thank God for that. I'm telling you, anytime I get with my doctor and I'm getting some news, I'm always praying, I'm always talking to God and, saying, God, please, please let everything come back good, let everything come back positive. And, although things have not, all been perfect and great, things have been good, and I have to thank God for that because it could be worse. So, with each one of my CT scans, every time I go, it's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and everything is going great. The way that the oncologist wants it to go, and of course the way that I want it to go, and my family and friends, of course. So everything is going good until all glory goes to God. All glory goes to God. He has been really showing up and showing out and doing what he does best for his servant, his faithful servant. And that is exactly who I am. I am a faithful servant to God. I am a child of the King, a child of the Most High, a child of God. That's who I am, and that's who I will be for the rest of my life. And as long as I can live for God, I will do it. Perfect? You guys know, I always tell you, I'm not perfect. But the thing about it is, I do love Christ. I do love God, and I do live for God. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So my CT scans have been coming back great. Each one that I take, everything is shrinking. My last CT scan that I just took, pretty much like has shrunk, it has gone down tremendously from the beginning, since the beginning of my journey. And of course, like I told you guys, I'm, doing the treatment, the smaller treatments, and then going into surgery in a little while, in a couple weeks. Actually about another month or so, I'll be going into surgery. And of course, I'll update you guys, let you guys know what's going on. So that's what, as far as, my cancer journey. CT scans all coming back great. Everything is shrinking like it should, and with all my treatments. So I thank God for that, and I give God all glory and honor for that. And what God wanted me to speak to, what God spoke to me about first, of course, and then what I'm sharing with the people, God wanted me to talk about finances. And the thing about it is that we have to know that God is the provider. He wakes you up to go to work. He wakes us up to go to work. He wakes us, God is in control of everything. He is in control of everything. And I know that a lot of people are going through financially. I know that, people are going through financially with everything going on in today's world. I saw people online the other day saying about like 2-income households, 1-income households, how their incomes were enough at one point, but now it's not anymore. And I'm telling you, personally, I myself, of course with the doctor bills, and being a mother and everything, God has been totally providing for me. He has. And one thing that I love about God is that He's not going to have us begging anyone for anything. God provides. You know, He may lay it in your heart to go ask somebody for something. Yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, God does all the providing. And I have solely been depending on God to provide for everything. God is amazing. God provides for me and my family. I thank God for my work history. I thank God for always being a hard worker. God is there. And I know that we are all going through a lot financially, but God just wanted me to let you know that He is the provider. God is the provider. We have to trust God to provide for us. Faith without works is dead. That's what also comes to my spirit. But we have to know that God will provide for us. We have to know that He will provide for us. He will be there for us. Just go to God and let God know what you need. And a lot of times we get upset. I have been through this where, I feel like, okay, God, I prayed to you. I told you this bill was due by then, and God didn't make a way for me to get the money. And I've gotten frustrated. I myself, I've done that. But even though you may feel that God didn't provide it when you wanted to, doesn't mean He's not going to. God's time is not our time. God does what He wants to do when He wants to do it. We don't control God. Took me a long time to learn that, because I always felt like, okay, if I told God that the bill was due on the 15th, that He would make sure I had it by the 15th, and then when the 15th came in, it didn't happen, I'd be like, okay, God, where you at? I went through that spiritual stage in my life. I went through that. I've gone through that. And the thing about it is, I had to learn, even though He didn't, He can. God can do all things. And I used to get mad and say, okay, God, well, you knew. I told you. You knew it. But, you already knew when it was going to be due, and you didn't provide it. I did. I used to get angry. I used to say, God, well, you're not there for me. I feel like you're not showing up for me. And I had to learn that my time is not God's time. It's not. God shows up when He wants to. He knows. He knows when to show up. Just know that. And I know that it may be hard, easier said than done. But I'm just speaking to you from experience. Gotta trust God. With everything that I'm going through, for me to sit here and tell y'all, you gotta trust Christ, you gotta trust God. You have to. Because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, can't put your trust in man. You definitely can't do that. You can't do that. I'm not saying there aren't people in our lives that we can depend on. I'm not saying that. Of course, God puts people in our lives that, we can go to and ask for help. But at the end of the day, God is still the provider. Because it's God who touches their heart to bless you. It's God who touches their hearts to help you. God is the provider. He is the provider. Know that. Trust that. Anything that you need financially, pray. Make sure you have a relationship with Christ. Build up a relationship with Christ if you don't. And at the end of my video, like I always do, I want to encourage you guys to stay strong. Be encouraged. Know that God is the provider. He is your provider, and He will provide. And that's what God gave me to share with His people. This is Arika Misha. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media at Arika Misha. That's Instagram, YouTube, of course, and Facebook at Arika Misha. Thanks, guys. Be encouraged.